Everyone, in this video, I want to do a demo of something that's coming out in Cortex 2.1. So not 2.0, but 2.1, the next release of Cortex, that will allow you to save information from your emails into your local Cortex database. Before we get into it, I want to remind you all that every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, we host the Cortex Users Group. We talk about things like this, new features that are coming out, new features that we're thinking about building or trying out, or trying to get feedback on, as well as the latest features that are actually in the release version of Cortex, providing on-the-spot support, or an opportunity for you to chat with other people who are using Cortex. If you're interested in that, there's a link down in the description below to get an invite to the Cortex users group, again, every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We also have a Discord server that you can join and have those sorts of conversations anytime. Completely asynchronous, around the clock. We're in there fairly regularly and happy to chat with you about any of your questions. Now, with that, let's talk about some of these new features. Now, I do want to mention that we have Cortex 2.0 coming out here very soon. Some of what you're about to see is actually kind of in Cortex 2.0. The way we build this is it's in the same code base as everything else, but it's just turned off. It's hidden. We do that so that we can continue to work on the same code base and continue releasing it. And if you want to see some of this new functionality, you don't have to download anything extra. You don't have to download a beta version or a trial version or anything like that. It is all part of the same code base. You just flip a flag. We call it a feature flag, and you can see some of the new stuff. Each kind of experimental feature has its own feature flag, and these are not documented. And that's intentional. We don't want everyone to be turning on these feature flags and then run into issues. They are very much experimental. But if you're interested in trying them out, definitely let us know. There's links in the description to contact us. We can help you get that set up. We recommend that you run these feature flags or only turn these feature flags on in non-production environment. But don't worry about your production environment. Anything that uh, doesn't have these feature flags turned on is tested and completely isolated from all of the stuff that requires the feature flags. They're basically, completely separated out, completely isolated by that feature flag. So I want to show you something that I've been working on that is, I think is pretty exciting. Let's switch over to the demo screen. And sorry if my camera's been glitching. My computer is running a lot of things right now. So we'll see how that goes. So you can see I'm kind of running in a kind of a weird mode. I'm not actually connected with a Cherwell database. And ignore some of the stuff over on the side. This is some other stuff that I've been playing around with on my dev machine. Um, you'll notice on this sidebar, I actually have a couple different options here set up. This objects list here, and I have an incident down here. Now, this is not the incident table in Cherwell. This is something totally new. And if I go into it, you see something that looks like a grid. And if I click on the incident number, you can see I get something that looks like a form. This is totally custom. This is totally new to Cortex. This has nothing to do with Cherwell or ServiceNow or any other system for that matter. This is an incident table that I created specifically in Cortex, with the idea being that my email monitoring code, my email monitoring configuration might want to create an incident object in the local Cortex database. And you can see this is this incident should look familiar to most people. Help, I need help right now with absolutely no additional details. Um, Now I can also create a new incident. We'll just make it different. We'll say help to, and my mouse has disappeared. When my mouse comes back, we'll type in the next box, which is I need help as well. And then we'll save it. You can see it's saved. It has a different URL. Um, and it looks like we don't get an incident number there, but you can see it showed up as a as an additional record. Obviously, there are still some tweaks that need to go on to fix some of these things. This is very in the very early stages, very experimental. But the idea being that when Cortex 2.1 comes out, you'll be able to, and actually well before that, right? We continue to build on things and we can continue to ship things to the demo site as we go. So we'll be able to demo this very soon, but you won't be able to actually use this in a production version until Cortex 2.1. But the idea being that your email monitor can create records in the Cortex database, either on the way to also creating them in your ticketing system or your CRM system or whatever other systems you're connecting to, or just leave them here, maybe for future additional processing. Maybe this is just an audit trail of emails that have come in. Um, Obviously we do have the email audit trail. I don't have email monitoring turned on right now, but the email monitoring configuration, um, the email monitoring does have its own audit trail, right? So you don't have to record that to the database, but you might want to start extracting pieces out of the email, save them locally, and then maybe later on, you know, other emails come in, you look up something from the database and then do something from it, right? This is very much in support of some other features that we're planning on building, and in support of other configurations that you might want to build out yourself. Now, the question is, how do you actually create these new tables? Well, we've created this concept of blueprints, which, if you're familiar with Cherwell, it kind of mirrors how Cherwell worked. Um, because creating a new table actually creates a new database table, we didn't want to have the system be in the process of being edited and also in operation at the same time. So we have this concept of a blueprint, which means that you can design the objects that you want to create. And then when you publish the blueprint, it creates those tables all at once so that the system is always in an internally cohesive state. So you can see I've done two things here. I've created an incident table and I've created a grid and a form. I'm actually just going to create a new blueprint, and we'll call this create customer, right? And I'm going to combine some of these things into this basically uh, the same blueprint. So instead of creating an incident, I'll create a customer table. So I'll drill into the blueprint. We'll say new business object. And here we get a step that's add a new business object. So by default, it fills in things with incident. So we'll just change that to customer. And the table name should be customer. ID, summary, all this stuff. ID has to be there. All of these audit trail columns, it's recommended to keep them there. Um, I'm going to delete the details column, and I'm going to change summary to, we'll just call this, we'll say first name. We'll just be simple and say full name, right? Save that. We can save the blueprint as we go. We can create a new grid, and we'll actually create a new form. So the grid, we'll call this customers, the business object. Again, still in progress. I can't actually select um, the customer object that I just created, but in a minute you will be able to. You can add columns. So obviously I had to select incident here. I'll just show that I can select like the ID, the public ID, um, in this case, incident number, right? That sort of thing. For the form, you get the same sort of configuration because right now forms are just a list of fields. So I'll leave the form name because again, I can't actually show you creating a form for a customer. Select the incident business object, add a control. Let's say, the updated by name, public ID, and so on and so forth. And these we'll save. Um, right. So we have all of that in place. We can save it. And I'm actually not going to hit publish because I just going through the demo, I didn't really put this blueprint in a very cohesive state. So it might actually fail. Um, Ideally, it should actually catch some of those, the weird things that I did. But you'd publish, and then at that point, it shows up as it's not editable anymore. Well, it looks like it's editable. I can actually go in and see what I did. Sorry, that actually shouldn't be the case. So things to fix. I can drill into it and I can see what I did. Obviously, this isn't editable, and it shows me that it was published a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, I can't add things to it. I can't save it. I can't publish it. It's already published. Um, but I can see my history of blueprints that I've added to the system. And obviously, I can see the records, the tables, and the records that I've created. So that's kind of a quick overview of some of the new features that we're adding to Cortex, not in 2.0, but in Cortex 2.1 to supplement and complement the email monitoring capabilities that are ready for prime time in Cortex 2.0. If you have any questions about this, definitely drop us a line. Uh, my email address is down below. You can schedule some time with me through the links in the description. We'd be happy to have you at the Cortex users group or on our Discord server. Feel free to ask questions about this and see all of the stuff that we're doing to help you make your IT operations just that much easier. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.